Are we... Are we live? Hold up. Wait a second. What is going on? Christopher Nolan's Star Wars movie? Wait. Star Wars... Wait. Disney being sold? Bob Iger, what? What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. We got a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about and not enough time to talk about it. So we're going to talk about as much as we can today on this live stream. It's pretty wild. Christopher Nolan talking about maybe possibly being a director of the next Star Wars movie, which would be absolutely insane. Bob Iger possibly making it so that this company gets sold sometime soon, which would be a disaster. But we also have talks of Kathleen Kennedy, what's going on with her firing situation, and of course Disney just collapsing as a complete and total company, and their next stupid idea. We'll talk about all of it. But of course, the main focus today is Christopher Nolan, and we're going to try and stay positive on this stream, even though there's a lot of negative to get into regarding Disney as a brand, regarding Bob Iger, regarding the strikes going on, regarding Star Wars in general. There is a lot of positive to look forward to. Ahsoka is now just a little over a month away. And of course, we got a lot of other cool, fun stuff to speculate and have fun with the Star Wars brand about. So, without further ado, let's open up the poll, open up the chat, and open up a poll right off the bat. Would you guys, let's go with would you want Christopher Nolan, the Christopher Nolan, would you want Christopher Nolan to direct a Star Wars movie? Yes or no? Yes or no? You guys tell me. Tell me. What do we think? Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest directors, arguably the greatest director of all time. Christopher Nolan, what do we think? And do you guys think he's the greatest director of all time? I mean, just look at this guy's thing. He did probably the greatest trilogy of superhero movies ever, with the Christian Bale Batman, with the Dark Knight Rises, and Batman Begins. He also did Interstellar, Inception, which right off the bat are two of the greatest movies, in my opinion, of all time. And it just goes on from there. I mean, of course, Oppenheimer comes out this next week, or this Friday? I'm not sure. I think it's this Friday. This Friday, and a lot of people are very, very excited for that. I think it's going to be a smash hit and break a lot of records, especially because it's a rated R film, and it might break all of the rated R film records. But Christopher Nolan, needless to say, is one of the greatest directors of at least my lifetime, if not probably almost all of your lifetimes as well. And regardless of how you feel about the guy, he is a fantastic director. So what about coming to Star Wars, Christopher? Here's what he had to say about that. Now, we're about to watch this interview that he did, of course, in press or whatever, an interview for Oppenheimer, but he's just doing an interview with this YouTuber named Hugo. And we're going to watch this one brief part of it where he references Star Wars and whether or not he would be open to directing a future Star Wars project. So let's watch this interview real quick. Let me pull it up. Wait, what the heck? Let me pull it up here real quick, and we'll watch it, and we'll see what you guys think about this. Let's see what you guys really think about this. All right, here we go. Make sure the volume is on. Yeah, we're good. All right.
Another question. I think there's 2 questions left. You can press...
Oh, wait. 1 second. We're freezing. Good. We good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good?
Buzzer.
That's better.
Okay, it's another timer. Basically, I will ask you a series of questions, and the idea is to answer yes, no, or just pass if you want to pass. Are you ready?
Oui.
Let's go. Will you still be making movies in 10 years?
Yes.
Could you make a TV show one day?
No.
Do you think...
First of all, he's not making a TV show, so that just pretty much neglects him for making a Disney Plus Star Wars show. If he were to come to Star Wars, it would be in a movie, and here's why.
there's life elsewhere in the universe?
Pass.
After...
Stop lagging. Hugo, stop doing it. Okay? We talked about this. Before the stream, we talked about this.
Batman, do you want to direct another superhero movie?
No.
Will AI destroy humanity?
No.
Do you still refuse to have a smartphone?
Yes.
Are you afraid of death?
Yes.
Could you have a TikTok account?
No.
Well, if you don't have a smartphone, it's not easy anyway. Is Interstellar your favorite movie in your filmography?
Pass.
Would you like to make a Star Wars movie?
Pass.
Pass is what he says. So, of course, his answers to the question are yes, no, or pass. So he could have said, no, I'm not going to direct a Star Wars movie, but he didn't want to close that door just yet. There's always the possibility of him directing a Star Wars movie, and as just such a great director as he is, he says pass. But he pauses for a long time, and he's not passing on the opportunity to direct a Star Wars movie. He's passing on answering the question because he doesn't know. Now, I'm sure in the back of his mind he really wants to direct a Star Wars movie, but he has seen what has happened recently with recent Star Wars movies. The thing is, this guy says no to ever making a TV show. He says no to even owning an iPhone. This guy's weird. But when it comes to Star Wars, he doesn't say no. He says pass. He pauses. Way longer than he pauses for any other question. Let's rewind the tapes.
Will AI destroy humanity?
No.
Do you still refuse to have a smartphone?
Yes.
Are you afraid of death?
Yes.
Could you have a TikTok account?
No.
Well, if you don't have a smartphone, it's not easy anyway. Is Interstellar your favorite movie in your filmography?
Pass.
Would you like to make a Star Wars movie?
Pass.
That was the longest pause I've ever heard in my life. Like, I literally got 10 years older waiting for him to answer that question. When I first saw this video, I thought he was going to say yes, and I was going to lose my freaking mind. But pass is a lot better than no. And the amount of length he takes, of course, I'm reaching here, guys. I am. And I'm sure you guys are thinking the same thing. Mike, you're reaching. That's crazy. He's not going to direct a Star Wars movie. But hear me out. Why on earth would he not just say no? Of course, you never want to close an opportunity like that, but he did say no to ever making a TV show. TV shows. Millions are made every freaking year. And he said no to ever making one. This guy doesn't even own an iPhone. This is insane. But what do we think? Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest directors of our time. Do you think he could come to Star Wars? And if he did, let's just say he did, okay? Let's just say he did. Let's have some fun with it, okay? If he did, what time period would you want him to see? What characters would you want him to discover, explore more? Where would you want Christopher Nolan to create a Star Wars movie? Where in the timeline? Would it be Old Republic? Would it be Dawn of the Jedi? Would it be currently in the Skywalker saga? Would it be post-sequel? Would it be pre-prequel? When would you want to see Christopher Nolan get a Star Wars movie? If he does get one, that is. Lou the Goat, what's up? Lou says, there is no way Nolan directs a Star Wars film. It's politics. I don't know. It's tough. I go back and forth. I'm like, Christopher Nolan would never do a Star Wars movie. First of all, this guy's one of the greatest directors ever. He directs masterpieces like Inception, which I think is easily one of my top 5 movies, hands down. The other 4 might be Star Wars, but just kidding. But Christopher Nolan is one of the greatest directors ever. So why would he come to Star Wars? But then you look back and you're like, well, he did do a Batman trilogy. If he's willing to do superheroes, why would he not be willing to do Star Wars? And again, we've talked about this all the time on these live streams. There was a time where all directors wanted to do was direct Star Wars. And now the time is kind of past because of Kathleen Kennedy, but I still think Star Wars is a place where directors want to go. Rian Johnson wanted to do his own thing with Star Wars and was forced into The Last Jedi. Even directors like Taika Waititi, even directors like James Mangold, who's another fantastic director, did masterpieces like Ford versus Ferrari and what is James Mangold? Oh, Logan, another guy who did some comic book movies. There are great directors in Hollywood who still want a slice of the Star Wars pie. And I think Christopher Nolan is one of those guys. He grew up on Star Wars. He watched it in the theaters. He's a full-on cinema guy. So why wouldn't he want to direct a Star Wars movie? Honey Badger says, yes, because of Batman. Hello, it would be amazing. But has to be in the Old Republic, I think. That looks awesome. Maybe Old Republic. I could see Old Republic if he goes anywhere. Just because it's Christopher Nolan, and if you're going Christopher Nolan, you're going big or you're going home. And you can't give him like the Rey movie or some side character that doesn't mean anything. Can't give him the Andor show. That's for sure. Austin, what's up? Austin, don't worry about being late ever. We need someone besides Kathleen to run Lucasfilm. That is true, Austin. I completely agree with you. But we got an article to talk about Kathleen Kennedy being fired and how that might not actually be happening. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. I really don't. Disney might be getting sold. Kathleen Kennedy might keep her job. It's a wild time. But let's keep talking about Christopher Nolan for now. Lou says he's too much of an artist to play with Disney. If Batman films were their own universe, any Star Wars film won't be by default. Well, that's true, but that would have been the same scenario before Disney as well. Star Wars is a galaxy and it's all interconnected. Maybe he would go somewhere else, like Zack Snyder tried to do with Rebel Moon when he pitched that to Disney, tried to go somewhere else with new characters. Maybe that's the Old Republic. Maybe that's past the sequel trilogy. But I don't know. I feel like just because it's not its own universe doesn't mean he won't shy away. Less creative control, he won't do it. He also can't film it on film like a nerd. Well, he could technically film it on film if he wanted to, but no, I get what you mean. Here's my thing with that. Christopher Nolan is one of the biggest creatives, biggest minds, directors in the world. Just the lack of creativity when it comes to Star Wars is something that is new to the scene. It's new because it's Disney Star Wars. It's Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars. The only lack of creativity is because of Kathleen Kennedy. Now, if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired, or if somebody else comes in, or somebody else takes charge, or Christopher Nolan says, I'm doing this, and fuck you, Kathleen. If something along those lines happens, then we could see something completely different go down. And Christopher Nolan could get an amazing Star Wars film that might have insane amounts of different force abilities or different creativity when it comes to the film because it's Christopher Nolan. The guy's a freaking genius. So, I don't know. I'm sure there will be a massive campaign to get this guy to Star Wars after Oppenheimer comes out, especially after this interview just came out. I already see Star Wars fans on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube already pushing for this guy to come to Star Wars because, again, as Star Wars fans, we want the best directors working on the projects, not Charmino Bicino and not nobodies who don't know Star Wars or don't know directing, for that matter. So we want the best of the best, and Christopher Nolan is the best of the best. So I'm sure you will see some sort of campaign going around as soon as Oppenheimer hits the big screen. Austin Snow says, who's worse than Kathleen Kennedy? Oh, well, there's a lot worse than Kathleen Kennedy, Austin. Leslie Headland first comes to mind just because of the stupidity that she rambles on about. And I don't know, who's Ryan Johnson? They probably wouldn't pick a director like that, more like a producer, but there are a lot of bad producers out there. Not everybody's Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige's a diamond in the coal mines, to say the least. This guy's a freaking genius. So in order for Star Wars to find their own Kevin Feige, it's a tough process. Honey Badger says, if Disney gets sold, it better be to George, and Kathleen definitely needs to go. Okay, the whole selling to George Lucas thing is never going to happen. Now, I know everybody wants it to happen because George Lucas is the GOAT, and I would love if it happened, but it's not going to. First of all, Star Wars is worth more than when it was in 2012, just due to inflation, but also due to the fact that it's worth more. It is. Although the sequel trilogy was divisive and insane, it did make billions upon billions of dollars. So Star Wars is worth more now than the $4 billion that George Lucas got for it back in 2012. So not only would George Lucas not have the ability to have nearly enough money to buy it back, but I don't think he wants it back. The guy's 80 years old, or 79. Is he 80? 79, 80 years old. He doesn't want to spend the rest of his days trying to regroup with Star Wars. He wants to just hang out and do what he wants to do. He's working on his museum, which is going to be awesome. And I'm sure he does not want to be the owner of Star Wars anymore, especially from what Disney has done to it. I know, I just wish he'd return. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, he's 80. Yeah. So I don't think that's possible that he would get Star Wars back. No way. No way, no way, no way, no way. Lou the Goat says, Disney is never going to create a separate Star Wars cinematic universe. They want to be able to cross-sell their shows to you. And being a part of the universe is the way that they do that. You are more likely to watch if there are implications on other shows you watch within the universe. Well, yeah, obviously, if Christopher Nolan was to make a Star Wars movie, it would be connected to the other movies. It just might be an Old Republic movie or a post-sequel trilogy movie where the references to the underlying Star Wars universe that already exists will be subtle. They'll be due to the Force being the same and due to the morals and the mythos and all that stuff being the same. It doesn't have to be directly connected. It doesn't have to be Luke Skywalker leading the movie. It doesn't have to be anything like that. George is old now. He's losing his marbles. I don't know about losing his marbles, but I mean, everybody who kind of gets old loses their marbles, you know? George was born May 14th of 1944. He was born during World War II. That's crazy. Checks out though, right? Because, wait, what? No, that doesn't make sense. He's not 80 then. He's 79. 79. 79. Where's the poll at? The poll is at 80% of you guys so far say yes, you want Christopher Nolan to come direct a Star Wars film, which I completely agree with. At this point, any great director to come direct Star Wars, I think, is a fantastic idea. The bummer of Kevin Feige's movie being canceled with the possibility of the Russo brothers directing, the bummer of maybe James Mangold's movie being canceled because of what happened with Indiana Jones, which was primarily not his fault. I feel like great directors coming to Star Wars is the best news that we can get, because directors, regardless of how much Kathleen Kennedy wants to interfere with a director like Christopher Nolan, he's going to do what he wants to do. If he's told otherwise, he's probably going to leave the project because he's not going to put his name on that. So I think it would be a great thing. But let's get into some other news. It is going to be a shorter stream today. I have a busy night ahead of me, and I'm working on a video right now about the selling of Lucasfilm, or of Disney itself, which is insanity. But let's talk about some more specifically Star Wars news. The Lando show. You guys remember the Lando show? You remember the Lando show? Tell me in the chat. You remember the Lando show? Lando Calrissian? You remember he was going to get a show? Remember that? Austin Snow says, if I was in charge, I would have fired Kathleen Kennedy. Well, yeah, you're not, Alliston. I wish you were, but you're not. Bob Iger is, and he is talking out of his ass right now, and it is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So the Lando show, you guys remember, of course. Austin remembers. The Lando show. Is it still even happening? We get an update. We finally got an update after 4 years, guys. 4 years. We did it. We just had to wait 4 years to get an update. Here we go. Is Disney Plus's Lando show still happening? Star Wars writer Justin Simien, gives update. Here we go. The long-awaited Lando Star Wars Disney Plus just got an update from its writer. So, back in December of 2020, so I guess it was only 3 years ago. Not 4, but still 3 years. Crazy. Back in 2020, in Disney's Investor Day presentation, it was announced by Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy that a Lando series was in the works at Disney+. The project would star Donald Glover and be developed by writer Justin Simien. Justin. Since then, fans have heard next to nothing about this project. Literally nothing. The only thing we heard about was Kathleen Kennedy say, go ask Donald Glover if you want to hear any updates because he's too busy for us. It wasn't until Star Wars Celebration this past April that a new update was offered by Kathleen Kennedy, who shared that it's still happening, and Glover is very excited about it. So, everybody loves Lando Calrissian, right? So this is Donald Glover. Of course, he played Lando back in the Solo movie, and we haven't seen him since. But in an exclusive interview with the direct Haunted Mansion director and Lando writer Justin Simien commented on his involvement with Lucasfilm's upcoming Star Wars Disney Plus series starring Donald Glover. So Haunted Mansion is Disney's next movie. I think it comes out in a few weeks now. And don't worry, that will bomb too. But when you hear what Disney's next project after that is, you're going to laugh. You're literally going to laugh out loud. So when the Direct mentioned the brief update about the series during Disney Plus Investor Day in 2020, Justin admitted he has not received any updates since that update. So in 3 years, the writer of the show has not received any updates. He did go on to share some happy thoughts on the matter, however. Justin noted that he feels like everybody loves the work they've done for the show back when progress was moving forward, and that the filmmaker certainly poured his heart into the Star Wars spin-off. So this is what he says. I certainly poured my heart and spent a lot of time working with them to put together a really great show. It feels like everybody loves it, and I was told we have to put it on pause because of scheduling, and the next update I got was in 2020, some years ago. So I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with it. The writer of the show himself has no idea what's going on. So, will Lando's Disney Plus adventure ever see the light of day? It's strange how little information there has been about Lando since the announcement in 2020. Lack of attention like that is usually due to a quiet cancellation. But if Kathleen Kennedy is to be believed, that is not the case here. One thing going against Lando is how it doesn't really have a place in Lucasfilm's future plans. With Dave Filoni's upcoming Mandoverse crossover film, shows like Ahsoka, The Mandalorian, and Skeleton Crew are all actively important to those plans. In turn, this could translate into additional seasons for them all. Mando's fourth is already in the works, leaving little room for side adventures like Lando. The Acolyte is also on the way, but even that could easily have a grander place in the Star Wars future. It's potentially the first step into getting even more High Republic stories told in live action. Not to mention all the Sith lore it teases to uncover. Hopefully the Donald Glover-led series will materialize at some point in the near future. Perhaps it could even explore some further backstory of Emilia Clarke's character, Kiara, who fans are dying to see return. And we had a live stream a few weeks ago talking all about her return and the possibility of that as well because of an interview she had for the Secret Invasion show she's in right now on Disney+. So what do we think about this? Do you think we'll ever see the Lando show? Do you think Donald Glover is really going to come back to play Lando again because Kathleen Kennedy asked him nicely? Do you think we will ever see the Lando show? What do we think? Losing my voice today. Out already. Honey Badger says, sheesh, Prowler and Lando Childish Gambino is on fire, but unfortunately, Lando show is an L. Can't believe this. The show would have been cool. So are we actually getting the Lando show? I heard they haven't made any progress with the show at this point. Well, yeah, they haven't. There's been nothing. No new updates, no new progress on the show in 3 years. If I were to venture, I would guess that this show is not happening. It's not. I just don't think it will. Swagger like us, what's up, Swagger, says, I don't think it'll happen either. Yeah, I don't. I don't think it'll happen at all. Not one bit. Austin says, KK is my Palpatine. Agreed. 100% agreed. But this Lando show, it's a whole freaking thing. Like, I don't even understand it. I don't get it. Why would Kathleen Kennedy announce this show with zero intention of actually making it back 3 years ago? Zero updates about it being made. Zero anything about it being made. But if you want to know anything, go ask Donald Glover. He's a little busy right now. It's a joke. The lady's a joke. The whole thing is a joke. I don't get the punchline, I guess. I mean, like, why just give us these announcements of these cool shows like the Lando show and then just never actually intend on making it? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. But let's talk about Kathleen Kennedy getting fired, shall we? Do you guys think Kathleen Kennedy will still be fired? Yes, no, maybe so. It's been weeks now, weeks since we've heard news of her possibly being fired behind the scenes, heard news of her definitely going because of Indiana Jones being such a flop. Weeks. And I'd love to believe that she's still on her way out the door, but some things might be stopping that. Some things might be altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it further. Let's read this article right here. So, this is, whoops, let me zoom in a little bit here. Jeez, scroll to the top. There we go. This is coming from a source that I don't really find reliable, honestly, but it is one of the only sources that is talking about the firing of Kathleen Kennedy. Honey Badger says, man, I hope she gets fired. Oh, wait. Honey Badger first says, but question, what would be the point? We got So-So Obi-Wan and Boba Fett show. Do we really think a Lando show would draw in a lot of revenue, let alone actually be good? I agree with that, but at the time, if you went solo movie, right into a Lando movie, right into a Crimson Dawn movie, or show even, if you went solo movie into a Lando show, into a Crimson Dawn show, starring Darth Maul and Kiara, and you interconnected that time period of the underworld with Lando and Solo and Kiara and the Crimson Dawn. Now you're talking about something great. You could even integrate the Andor show into that time period as well. Now you're talking about something great. But to Honey Badger's point, what is the point now? The Solo movie was, 6-7 years ago? And now you're talking about characters that we haven't seen in 6 or 7 years, that being Lando, Han, or Kiara, or Maul, or any of them. Yeah, it just makes no sense. No sense at all. But let's get into this article right here. So, Kathleen Kennedy rumored to stay on at Lucasfilm because guess what? Nobody wants that job. And I've said this before, but I still thought she would get the boot just because of how stupid and dumb and stupid she is. But it might be real that nobody actually wants this job, and that could cause for Kathleen to stay. The new rumor claims that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy will stay on in her position despite her disastrous leadership of this studio. I wish Stormtroopers had better aim because, her just getting plastered right there would have been nice. So here we go. The latest rumor comes after Lucasfilm's latest box office endeavor, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, bombed badly at the box office. The film has only grossed $131 million at the domestic box office and another $126.7 million internationally for a global gross of $257.7 million. Now, do I have to remind you guys, this movie cost $300 million to make, meaning they would have to make at least double that to make their money back, meaning it would only be profitable if they made $600 million, and then that $600 million in money would be profitable. However, they haven't even reached the halfway point. Given these poor numbers and the film estimated production budget of $300 million, box office analysts OMB Reviews predict the film is likely to reach $400 million globally, and thus it will likely cost Lucasfilm and Walt Disney Company around $250 million. That means a loss of $250 million on the latest installment of Indiana Jones. Insanity. Absolutely bonkers wild. Somehow this lady's going to keep her job. Here we go. Not only is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny an epic disaster, but even the company's flagship Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian, is now suffering. Views of the series panned the recent released third season. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes for this third season sits at a 50. I had to make sure this was correct. This article was correct. I looked it up myself. It is a 50. The audience score for season 3 is a 50. Now, I enjoyed season 3 a lot more than I think other people, I guess. I know many of you guys enjoyed season 3 as well. There were some ups, there were some downs, but 50 is bad. 50 is atrociously bad. Like really, 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 really bad. And even critically, 85 is not that good either. Not good at all. So now you have Indiana Jones flopping miserably, losing $250 million for the company. Then you have the last season of The Mandalorian, which was supposed to be their hit show on Disney Plus, getting a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes as an audience score. Not the critics, the audience. And yet you don't hear any words about this. The Flash bombed in Hollywood, and all these reporters crapped on it bad. They crapped on it big time. All the headlines were saying, The Flash, biggest flop ever, blah, 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 blah. Indiana Jones bombs almost just as bad as The Flash. Nobody's writing articles about it. Nobody cares. And I feel like Disney at some point just has some hold over all these news medias, over all these journalists, that they literally just can't talk crap about the movie. Because for that big of a bomb, for this big of a company, at this time in Hollywood, should be talked about a whole lot more. This movie's going to lose almost $300 million. And no one's talking about it. Nobody's writing anything about it. It's insane. Maybe it's to save face with Harrison Ford. Maybe it's to save face with James Mangold, who's a great director. Or maybe it's to save Kathleen Kennedy's job. Let's read on. The company recently produced Willow. Jesus Christ. Was not only canceled after just one season, but the Walt Disney Company removed the entire series as part of a plan for a massive tax write-off with the Walt Disney CEO, Bob Iger. We're going to get into Bob Iger in a little bit here. Guy's a dumbass. Sorry. He remarked, we realize... I've really gone off the rails these last couple of weeks. We realized that we made a lot of content that is not necessarily driving sub growth. And we are getting much more surgical about what we make. So here's the thing. They made the show. Willow came out back in November of last year. It was released to the public. And they could have just kept it on there. Could have just kept it there. What if nobody watches it? Who cares? It's still there if they want to watch it. Who cares? But instead, they took it off of Disney Plus and wrote it as a tax write-off. Here we go. Even if you look past Kathleen handling of Lucasfilm and the result of this year, she's only managed a decline. The Force Awakens opened up at a booming $2 billion in box office globally. However, subsequent releases saw big declines. The Last Jedi only brought in 1.3, and finally, Rise of Skywalker barely eked. That's not an English word, I'm convinced. Over $1 billion. In between these films, Kathleen Kennedy produced and oversaw Solo: A Star Wars Story, the first Star Wars film to definitely lose money, which is crazy. Even on the company's publishing front, its High Republic initiative has not found an audience after its opening book. A report analyzed BookScan data by Upstream Reviews found that the High Republic sales have seen a 90% to 95% drop in sales since launch with Light of the Jedi and the current High Republic novels in barely over 2 years. So what that's pretty much saying is the High Republic books, which launched only 2 years ago, are at a 90% drop of sales since it opened. Now, this is not that surprising. High Republic storyline is pretty good, but there is no live action content. There is no connected story when it comes to the stuff coming out on Disney Plus or the stuff coming out on the movie screen. So yeah, not many people are going to go read those books. Even I only have read like a third of them. So it's those books are failing. I mean, Solo was a disaster just because of what happened with Ron Howard and all that other stuff. And Kathleen Kennedy, of course, being the awful person that she is. But even from the beginning, The Force Awakens made $2 billion, and since then, we've gone downhill ever since, and it still has yet to come back up. Now, there is a few Star Wars movies on the way, Dave Filoni's probably being the biggest of them, that could possibly reach the $2 billion mark. However, if Kathleen Kennedy is still the president, if all this stupid nonsense is still going around the Star Wars universe, it might not. We might be in big, big trouble because fans might just not go see it because of Kathleen Kennedy. Same way fans didn't go see Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, for all intents and purposes, could have been the greatest movie of all time, but nobody went to see it because of the off chance that Kathleen Kennedy would have gotten fired for us not seeing it. It makes no sense, and honestly, it just really doesn't. It shouldn't make sense, and I don't think it will make sense in the future that Kathleen Kennedy still holds her job. I don't know. Am I going too hard, or am I making sense? Is Kathleen Kennedy losing her job like crazy, or is it just the right decision? Let's read on. Despite all these markers clearly showing that Kathleen Kennedy has completely mismanaged Lucasfilm on nearly all fronts, this latest rumor implies that she will stay aboard as president of the company. So after fail after fail after fail after fail, she still stays on as the head of the company because nobody else wants her job. These rumors also come from Matt McGleon, of Cosmic Book News. He posted on Twitter, also asked about Kathleen Kennedy getting fired, told nobody wants the job, so it likely won't happen. Now again, this guy's not the biggest source out there. He's not a very reliable source at that, but he's asking his sources that he has within the company. I have no reason to not believe him. I have no reason to really believe him, but it is the only person kind of really talking about any of this. Because nobody wants to talk about this. I don't know why, but nobody, not a single person wants to talk about Kathleen Kennedy being fired right now. And I don't know why. I don't know. Is it like that crazy of a topic to talk about, to discuss? Is it that crazy to think that this lady who has tried to destroy the biggest IP, the most beloved characters in the world, is it that crazy to talk about her being fired because of it? This rumor comes after at Walt Disney's company was having heated meetings following the disastrous box office result of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. WDW Pro Channel guests Mexican Iron Man details this information based on his source inside Walt Disney's company. Okay, we're not watching that. But he says meetings did happen that were incredibly heated. There were a lot of heat in general related to Lucasfilm, related to the financial results. The way he described this to me, this started with the layoffs, and this isn't helping anybody's morals and anybody's sense of safety related to their jobs just in general. So Kathleen Kennedy, of course, was in the talks, and this just goes on to talk about what he's talking about, and we don't care about that really. We're going to speculate on it ourselves because I don't really trust this source all that much anyway. But the fact of the matter is nobody is talking about Kathleen Kennedy being fired. And I don't understand why. I don't get it. Like, am I crazy here, or is this lady just the worst? I don't get it. But what do we think? Austin Snow says, KK, you're fired. Weeks later, KK, you're not fired. I don't get it either, Austin. I just don't. I don't get it. She should be gone. Why isn't she gone? When will she be gone? Swagger Like Us says, I think Jon Favreau's writing was exposed in season 3. Doing TV via multiple seasons is very difficult. Than writing a 2-hour storyline of a film. Filoni is more experienced with TV and structuring a story. That's true. However, season 3, it's not the fault of Jon Favreau. Let me put it that way. Kathleen Kennedy's interference with season 3 is what, in my mind, this is just my opinion, I guess, but we know around here my opinion is fact. In my mind, I see season 3 being absolutely destroyed by Kathleen Kennedy. Not only the firing of Gina Carano, but bringing Grogu back in the Book of Boba Fett, rushing him back into the story just because she wanted to sell merch. Not dealing with Din Djarin correctly, not dealing with Pedro Pascal behind the scenes correctly. Now, that might have been an argument between Pedro and John, but again, as the CEO of the fucking company, get your head out of your ass, Kathleen Kennedy, and make the tough decisions and make them correctly. Please the fans. Don't just try to make a quick buck. I think a lot of the disaster of season 3 has to do with Kathleen Kennedy. And until I'm proven otherwise, until somebody tells me otherwise, I have no other reason to believe that Kathleen Kennedy is not the director of disaster over there. Austin Snow says, what's with Kathleen keeping her job? She's losing Disney money. Well, a lot of things are losing Disney money right now. I mean, almost everything is losing Disney money right now. But yes, she is definitely one of the problems. And to see them fire all these different employees and fire even higher up people like Victoria Alonso at Marvel, who's been there for even longer than Kathleen Kennedy has been at Lucasfilm. I mean, at Disney. It's crazy. It's crazy that this lady still has her job. And maybe it's just because nobody else wants it. It sounds insane. The fact that nobody else really wants that job is insane. Aim Punched, what's up, Aim, says, they need more directors like Nolan. Well, that's just true. That, like, we can all pretty much agree with that. They need better directors, more talented, how about, let's just say, even credited directors that have done it before, had successes before, not Charmin Obey-Chinoy. Like, the Ray movie's going to be a disaster. Okay. Honey Badger says, KK need to go. We all know it. Yeah. Gotta agree with that. I agree. I think KK just interfered with the Book of Boba Fett, Mando Season 3, and was the main reason why they failed so badly. But hey, I'll be on a positive side of the Mando 50-50 every time. That's true. I did think The Mandalorian Season 3 was better than people make it out to be. It was not Season 2, by all means. It was not Season 2, but it was quality Star Wars content. It's better than, look, it's better than the fucking The Last Jedi. That's yeah. So Swagger Like Us says, the writers Kathleen hires boggles my mind. For instance, who would have hired John Kasdan for Willow? I enjoyed Solo, but the film story never should have been greenlit. Did the writer who wrote Solo write Willow, the show? Are you serious? I didn't even know that because I didn't watch the Willow show, because why the hell would I do that? That makes no sense. Why? Or how about, what the hell's the guy's name? I can never remember this guy's name because I hate him so much. Who wrote the Obi-Wan Kenobi series? How about that disaster? Kathleen cannot hire writers. It's almost as simple as that. Aim Punch says, also, hi, how you doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. What's the guy who wrote Kenobi? Somebody help me out. It's on the tip of my tongue. No, I know it. I know it to be true. Somebody help, please. Please help me. Please help me. I'm so weak. Please. Don't let him kill me. Oh my God, good Cubs follow orders. I have missed another day one. I'm confused. Boom, 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 boom. All right, should we get into this article? Let's talk about Bob Iger selling this whole bitch. John Harold. No, it wasn't John Harold. Joby Harold. Yes, Joby Harold. Maybe it auto-corrected. I missed another one. I have missed another one. Yeah, Joby Harold. So Joby Harold was the writer of The Kenobi Show, and we know how that turned out. Joby Harold is a freaking disaster. And that show turned out to be a disaster. However, it was written by a different guy before as a movie. But they brought in Joby Harold. By they, I mean Kathleen Kennedy. Brought in Joby Harold to turn it into a show. To fix the show, to turn this movie into a show. And what Joby did was a absolute disaster. Everything he touches, I want to punch him in the face, and yeah. enough about Joby Harold. I've given him too much screen time. Okay, let's talk about Bob Iger selling this whole kid and caboodle. Let's get into this. Bob Iger rumored considering selling Disney to Apple. I'm working on an entire video right now. I just recorded it before we went live here, and I'm going to edit it and hopefully get it out by tomorrow. I love doing the premieres with you guys. The premieres are awesome. So what we do on the channel now is we premiere the videos so that I can be in the chat with you guys and we can talk about the video as it's premiering live and talk about just the ideas and stuff. And that's a lot of fun. So we usually do the premieres at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Usually on like Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. The days we don't, sorry, not Saturdays. The days we don't stream, we do normal videos. And those premieres are a lot of fun. So watch out for that. But the whole video is about Disney selling to Apple. And we're going to talk about a little bit of it here, and then we'll get into a full-on discussion with you guys. So this is actually kind of cool. I might steal this, honestly, if we're maybe. But it's, of course, the Death Star is an Apple logo. So Bloomberg recently released a report detailing Disney's listing various assets for sale. And within the article, the outlet reported rumors that Bob Iger looking to sell Disney itself to Apple. So yeah, Disney's losing money badly. Like they're losing billions of dollars every single year and hundreds of $1 millions every single month. So they're losing a lot of money and they're trying to sell assets. What are they trying to sell? Well, they'll probably sell shows, like they'd put The Mandalorian on like Netflix or something for money. Or they'll try to sell like ESPN because they own that, or ABC, Freeform, whatever it is now, because they own that. Like they'll try to sell these different things to make some money, to stay afloat. But if that doesn't work, if all that doesn't work, and they've lost too much money, it might be time for the whole entire company to go. And this is crazy. So, of course, Bespin Bulletin always does that shout-out thing for their own stuff, but that's good for them. The report mentioned that Disney put its linear TV assets up for sale last week, which include their network ABC, FX, and Freeform. Aren't FX and Freeform the same thing? Or am I wrong? With Iger also seeking a strategic partner for the Disney-owned sports network ESPN. Disney is not looking for a full sale of the sports network. It's unknown if Disney is looking to sell their TV networks in their entirety or partially, with FX in particular supplying a large amount of programming for the streaming service Hulu. It is possible they will sell Hulu entirely because they have Disney Plus. Why do you need two streaming services? However, which Disney owns the majority of. With plans to merge Hulu content into Disney Plus later this year in the United States, Hulu and FX content have been available on Disney Plus internationally for quite some time. The decline in cable television is what he has reportedly spurred Iger and Disney to want to sell the linear TV networks, with the company pinning its TV hopes on its streaming service Disney Plus and Hulu, but the company is expected to lose $800 million in their fiscal third quarter, with Disney Plus losing 4 million subscribers last quarter. So Disney Plus has the most amount of subscribers of any streaming service. However, in this last quarter of the year, it has lost 4 million subscribers. Now, why has it lost 4 million subscribers? Well, The Mandalorian ended back in April. Since then, there was almost nothing, except for like Vision Season 2, which is a small project that not a lot of normie fans would watch. There was the Young Jedi Adventures, which was mostly for kids. Again, not normie fans to watch. And up until now, which is Secret Invasion, which the viewing for Secret Invasion is insanely low for a Marvel show. And it's just bonkers. So, yeah, they lost 4 million subscribers on the Disney Plus platform. But Disney Plus it doesn't make money. It doesn't. And they lose millions of dollars every single month on Disney Plus. So they need money, and they need it fast. Bloomberg reports that there's a long list of interested parties in regards to buying stake in ESPN, including the tech giant Apple. But the list for the linear TV networks are smaller, with the most expected to be private equity firms that would likely milk for the network for cash and allow them to fall into obscurity. Okay, I don't know what that means. But lastly, and probably the tidbit that readers will find most interesting, is Bloomberg added in their report that they have heard rumors that Bob Iger could be looking to sell Disney to Apple. This could be the craziest sale of all time. Disney is a 100-year-old company that has been around for 100 years. Walt Disney created it himself, with Mickey Mouse being his biggest first character, built from there on just this entire massive company. And then, of course, he died years later, and the company has gone from CEO to CEO. And as of right now, Disney is in the worst spot it's ever been in, on the brink of selling the entire company of Disney to Apple. The outlet noted that it's hard to imagine Disney being sold, with Iger himself being a builder, Bob the Builder, and not a seller. But with the amount of cost cutting that Disney and Iger are doing as of late, it doesn't seem out of the question. Rumors of Disney looking to be bought by Apple have swirled online for what seems to be the last year, primarily driven by streaming service losses and poor performances in the theatrical box office, both of which have continued into this year, with Disney's latest offers of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny expected to lose hundreds of millions of dollars for Disney despite a less than stellar year. I don't see the sale of Disney to Apple happening for a very long time, if ever. So they go on to talk about other stuff here, but we're going to speculate and talk about this a little bit more here. What do we think? Do you want this to happen? Do you think it will happen? What do you think? Austin Snow says Bob Iger doesn't know Star Wars. Well, that goes without saying. He really doesn't. But it's not his job to know. It's Kathleen Kennedy's job to know, and it's the writers and all that stuff. So sure, he's the head of the company, but it's not really his job to know. Honey Badger says, we are going to have to start paying $17 a month to watch Star Wars if we sell to Apple. I don't know about that. Here's the thing. Apple kind of has like a monopoly over phones and computers and stuff like that, and people don't seem to like that, to say the least. But it'll be interesting to see what Apple would do with Star Wars, honestly. If I'm being completely honest, I would be quite intrigued. Aim Punch says, Apple has decent writers, but I think like Foundation, I don't like Foundation, to be honest, the series. Foundation, the series, I've never seen that. But I doubt that Apple's going to take like Dave Filoni and other great creatives at Lucasfilm and just say, take a hike. They'll bring over those people and they'll keep them along. Of course, they're not going to get rid of Dave Filoni when they see the fans love the guy. Like it's yeah, that's stupid. Swagger Like Us says, true, the Kenobi writer, Joby Harold, never should have been hired. Added insults to injury. Kenobi's best moment was plagiarized from Star Wars Rebels, Twilight Princess. Talk about lazy writing. I don't think I remember what you're talking about. Twilight Princess and Star Wars Rebels. Twilight Princess and Star Wars Rebels. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. How many people are like Dave Filoni? I think more than you would think at Lucasfilm. Now, they're maybe not the brains of Dave Filoni that are like the creative minds of Dave Filoni that could create something like The World Between Worlds or whatever he's doing with the Ahsoka show. But I'm saying like people who love Star Wars, people who've been there since the George days, people who are great creatives and great, brilliant minds. And there's a bunch of those people at Lucasfilm. It's not all bad people like Kathleen Kennedy. There are good people working there. Like Doug Chiang has been around since the prequel trilogy. He's done art for the prequels. He's done art for the sequels. He's done art for The Mandalorian. He's a creative design guy. There's people like that. There's many of them at Lucasfilm that just don't have their names as recognizable. They're probably just doing the little things and stuff like that. So there probably are a lot of people that are like Dave Filoni in the creative way, but not like, of course, as the big brain on Dave. Austin Snow says, one second, I'm losing my voice. I can feel it. Austin Snow says, KK is so lazy, she hires people who don't know Star Wars. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Swagger Like Us says, if I'm Disney, I would sell ABC. The View and all their programming is so cringe. Yeah, I don't know if I've watched ABC since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like season 1. So, yeah, I agree. Aim Punch says, the Apple deal would be a good thing if it ever happens. I think it could be a good thing. I go back and forth. I don't know. It could be a good thing. I feel like Disney is just so bad right now. I'm pissed at Bob Iger in general, so right now I want it to be sold because Bob Iger is just a douche. I don't know. I go back and forth. If Bob Iger keeps talking out of his ass like this, then yeah, sell. But we'll see. We shall see. Is that everything I wanted to go over? Oh, yeah. All right. Are you guys ready to see what actually puts the final nail in the coffin for Disney? Why it will be sold? Why? It's pretty much like everything that Disney has done wrong over these last 10 to 15 years has been leading to this movie that I'm about to reveal to you guys. Okay? And I'm sure many of you have probably seen this online. If you guys are on Twitter or on Instagram, it's been all over. This is the final nail in the coffin for Disney. Snow White. Snow White. All right. So let me just read this. This is coming from Industry Insider, My Time to Shine. Hello. She says, the people that save Snow White in this version are called the bandits. Jonathan, the main love interest, who isn't the prince, is also a bandit. The bandits are like Robin Hood. They steal from the queen to feed the poor. So the bandits, if you guys are unfamiliar of the 7 people standing right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 dwarfs. For all intents and purposes, these are the 7 dwarfs. So, yeah. These are your new 7 dwarves in live action. Let me pull up a picture of this whole cast here real quick. This is ridiculous. Here we go. So this girl right here, her name is Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler is going to be playing Snow White. And these are her 7 dwarves. So, just when you thought Disney couldn't get any more woke, here's your new Snow White, which, quite frankly, I have no problem with. She looks great. I mean, she probably will make a great Snow White. And here are your 7 dwarves, which, again, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what I should say. I don't know what I can say. I don't know why I should say it, but I know that you guys know that this is just wrong. This is wrong. Do you want to know why her name was Snow White? Because her skin was so pale, it was white. Do you know why they're called 7 dwarves? Because they were 7 dwarves who worked in a mine that helped Snow White save Snow. What? Well, I don't even know. But I can sure as hell tell you that these people are not working in a mine. And why are they so colorful? And it does not look like any of them are grumpy or sleepy or human. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, how does this come across the table as a good idea? The Little Mermaid which I have yet to see. I've heard like, and I thought the girl had a fantastic voice. I can't think of the actress's name, but I thought she looked like I thought she played the role of Ariel very, very well. The problem that people had with the movie was, first of all, they changed every single character from the original, every single one. And they changed the ending of the movie and other specific scenes throughout the movie that upset many, many fans. And instead of seeing that and saying, oh, maybe we should make actual remakes, like The Lion King was like almost a shot-for-shot remake, and that movie made a ton of money. Instead of doing that, they say, let's make Snow White, and let's make it so insanely crazy and stupid and dumb that will make everybody hate us even more. And that's all from me today, folks. Oh my goodness. Anybody have any thoughts about that? Anybody thoughts about that? No, nobody? Nobody wants to touch that with a 10-foot pole? Me either. Austin Snow says, Luke Skywalker is the true hero. Anakin Skywalker is the chosen one. Yes, couldn't agree more. Aim Punch says, this looks like a train wreck waiting to happen. Yep. I'm sure it'll be a great movie. I'm sure I won't watch it. I'm sure they learned from The Strange New World and Little Mermaid and all these nice live action remakes that they keep doing that make so much money for them. All right, I'm going to get out of here. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for sticking around with me. This was quite the stream, I must say, and it was 86% of you guys do think that Christopher Nolan should direct a Star Wars movie, and I completely agree with you. And I think you guys are all 100% completely correct. And yeah, what a great time to be a Star Wars fan, you know? What a great time. It's going to be a nice couple of years here where we see Disney probably gets sold to Apple, and this whole thing unravels. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I have no words for the Snow White. It is hard to come up with words that don't all include Bob Iger's a dumbass, but that's okay. Maybe he is. Okay. All right. You guys are the absolute best. Watch out for that video coming out maybe tomorrow, if not Friday, because we have a live stream on Thursday. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for sticking around. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Smash a like on this video, hit subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and my pretty face will show up in the recommended feed of yours. Yeah. Okay. And may the force be with you. Always. What a great stream. What a great show. Holy crap. Jeepers creepers. What's next? Mickey Mouse is a Minnie Mouse? Well, those are two separate characters, but you never know what they could do. You never know what they could do. Oh, jeez. What a world. What a world. All right. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives. Just remember, Ahsoka's only a month away, and all will be fine because we'll be here talking all about it. And if the train wreck of Disney does go down, we'll still be here. Don't worry about it. And we'll still be having this fun, awesome conversation. So, yeah. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody. Yeah.